So today we're going to focus on our second day of elimination. And if you notice, this one says elimination using multiplication. And so basically, what this helps us do is this helps us solve a system of equations in which maybe x and y aren't opposites. So say, for example, you had something like this. If you look at it now, we technically can't use elimination to solve that. Okay? But we're going to look at how you can use elimination to solve that system of equations. And so first of all, there are 3 steps in order to do this. The first is to multiply at least one equation by a constant to get 2 equations that contain opposite terms. We're going to then add the equations, eliminating one variable, and then solve the equation. Once you solve that equation, you'll substitute the value from step 2 into one of the equations and solve for the other variable. Then you'll write it as an ordered pair. So basically, it's the same stuff you've been doing, except for we've got one little step at the start that we need to do. Okay? So the best way to look at this is to go ahead and jump right in with an example. And so we're going to look at 5x plus 6y equals negative 8. And 2x plus 3y equals negative 5. So now as it is, we can't eliminate. We can't eliminate the x's. We can't eliminate the y's. And so what we need to do is we need to look at the x's. And first of all, I have 5 and 2. And I need to think, what's the smallest number that both 5 and 2 go into? What's the smallest number they both go into? 10. So what would you have to multiply the top by in order to get 10? 2. What would you have to multiply the bottom by? 5. Okay, so let's look at the y's. What is the smallest number that both 3 and 6 go into? 6. So what would you have to multiply the top by? 1, right? I wouldn't have to multiply the top by anything. What would you have to multiply the bottom by? 2. So that would be the way to go. Let's eliminate the y's. And I'm going to multiply this bottom equation, and I'm actually going to change it. Instead of multiplying by a 2, I'm going to multiply by a negative 2. Can anybody guess why?
Because the 3y's positive.
Right. It needs to be negative, so when we add them together, it's all nice and neat. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just recopy the first equation down. And then the bottom equation, I'm going to go ahead and distribute a negative 2. So your whole goal is to have one positive, one negative.
They have to be the same.
The same number?
Yeah.
Yes. So you need like a 6 and a negative 6, or an 8 and a negative 8, a 4 and a negative 4. Something to that. So let's add the equations together. What is 5x and negative 4x? 1x. What is 6y, negative 6y? 0. What is negative 8 and positive 10? 2. So I get x to equal 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of the equations. It doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to plug in 2 for x. So I'm actually going to use this top equation right here. And I'm going to take 5 times 2 plus 6y equals negative 8. And this should look familiar because this is the exact same steps that we used when we were solving with elimination. So what is 5 times 2? 10 plus 6y equals negative 8. What do you do now? Subtract 10. Very good. And so I get 6y to equal negative 18. Okay, so now to solve this, what do? Divide by 6. And so what does y equal? Negative 3. So our ordered pair would be 2, negative 3. Questions? Let's look at another one. Okay. 5x minus 3y equals 6, and 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the x's. Can you eliminate the x's? Not right now, no. Can you eliminate the y's? No. So then I need to decide, what is the smallest number 2 and 5 both go into? 10. So I would have to multiply the top by, bottom by 5. Okay? What's the smallest number between the 3 and the, or what's the smallest number 3 and 5 go into? 15. What would I have to multiply the top by? Bottom by 3. Okay, I'm actually going to focus on the y's here and not the x's. Can somebody tell me why? Yeah. Right, there's already a negative and a positive, so I don't have to worry about that. So what am I going to multiply the top by again? Refresh. 5. What am I going to multiply the bottom by? 3. Now, I don't have to worry about one being positive or negative because the signs are already opposite. So the top equation becomes 25x. Can somebody finish for me? Okay. Equals 30. It's important that you distribute to the very last term. What does the second equation become? Equals negative what? 30. Good. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at adding both equations together. What is 25x and 6x? What is negative 15y and positive 15y? What is 30 and negative 30? 0. Now it's always nice when we get a 0 because to solve that, what are you going to do? Divide by 31. Okay, so what is 0 divided by 31? Is 0, because remember 0 divided by anything is 0. So now what I'm going to do is plug in 0 for x. It doesn't matter where. I could plug it in the bottom or the top. So just to show you that it'll work in the bottom, I'm going to plug 0 right here. So I have 2 times 0 plus 5 times y equals negative 10. What is 2 times 0? 0. So basically this is gone, right? So how would you solve 5y equals negative 10? Divide by 5. So y equals negative 2. So my ordered pair is 0, negative 2. Questions? Is it making sense? Okay. What I want you to do is you write that down. I want you to think to yourself, what am I going to multiply by? And in about a minute or two, I'm going to ask. So how would you start that problem?
Does it matter which one? Anything which one?
So real quick, which variable would you want to eliminate here, the x or the y? The x, very good. Why the x?
And you only need about 1.1.
3 and 6 both go into what?
6.
6. So really, I only have to multiply one equation. Now, could you eliminate the y? Yeah. It's just going to take you a little more work. Okay. So what am I going to multiply the bottom equation by? Negative 2. Once again, because remember we want that positive and negative sign. So I have 6x minus 2y equals 10. And then I have negative 6x. Can somebody finish for me? Okay, keep going.
Equals 5.
38, good job. So now let's go ahead and what do I get when I add the two equations together? Right? Nice job. Okay, so then now what do I do? Divide by 12, and y equals 4. What is the next step then? Yep, plug in 4 for y. So I'm just going to use the top equation. Is that okay? So really I get 6x minus what? Which is? Okay, so 6x minus 8 equals 10. So now what do? Add 8. And I get 6x to equal 18. Very good. What do you do now? Okay, divide by 6. And x equals 3. So what does my ordered pair look like? 3, 4. Questions? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, so I just want you to put 1 to 5, how comfortable do you feel right now? Okay, 1 being not real comfortable, 5 being comfortable. So, hands, I don't care. So, okay. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is I actually had 2 more examples, but I think from what I'm feeling is that you're understanding things. If you still have questions, you can ask. Just come up and I'll be glad to help you. But on page 360, you need to do 7 through 18. Okay? 7 through 18. And we will look at this tomorrow.